We might even be there, dude.
I see the sign.
Are we live?
I got the clock's ticking.
Cool. I'm just going to check. Dude, you might want to share this. Yeah, we are live. We've been live for 14 seconds, dude, and I don't even know what I've said. Arjuna, you might want to share this onto your Facebook page.
I can do that. I will do it.
Hello, Amy. How you doing? Yeah, if you get that shared, dude, because you've got way more followers than me. People listen to you. Nobody listens to me, dude. We've got a tidy little following.
Well, I've been chipping away for a few years.
Yeah, I know. I keep forgetting that. Hello, Kate. How you doing? All Arjuna's fans are in. Dude, when I do these, nobody turns up. You're here.
Oh.
You draw the crowds. You done that? You shared it?
It's got the spinning wheel of spinning
Cool.
this.
Well,
But yeah,
cheers.
it's happening.
Cheers, dude. Thanks for joining me, man. Cheers. Yeah, we were gonna have a beer. I texted Arjuna before. I said, "Should we have a beer, dude?" And Arjuna said, "No, because I'm on keto." Tell us about that, dude. What's tell people what keto is, and then tell people why you're on it.
Keto, a high fat, low carb diet, and I really just thought I'd give it a shot because I'm not a big carb fan anyway, and I was listening to these podcasts about how cool it was and how many benefits there were, and
how long have you been doing it?
3 months.
Oh shit, dude.
Yeah.
Most people usually say, "Oh, a few days." How are you feeling?
I love it. It's my way. It's my way of eating. I never had a lot of fat to lose, and I've lost fat, and I've got more energy, more clarity.
So basically, just eat meat all day.
No, I have like a bed of veggies, a layer of fat of some kind, and then a bit of meat on top. So it's perfect.
Well, here's my psychic. I think one day you'll go vegan.
No, I've been there.
Oh, okay. What happened, dude? You saw the light and decided that you were missing out.
I had cravings. got skinny. I got pale. I got lethargic. It wasn't good for me. Yeah.
No. Dude, anyway, Arjuna, you are one cool motherfucker. Let's start with that. You are also an Ashaya monk, right?
There you go.
Oh, there you go. I always say to everybody, Arjuna is one of the coolest dudes I've ever met. An Ashaya monk, an author as well of this fantastic book here, 200% Instruction Manual for Fully Living. You're a family man, and you are a teacher. Dude, tell us more. What have I missed out?
That's about it. I love kayaking. I love eating. I love life. It's me.
Dude, how does one man decide that he's going to become a monk?
Well, I was living in a place called Wanaka in New Zealand, which is a ski town, and it's beautiful. There's mountains and lakes and just beauty everywhere. Like I could go running and I could kayak and I snowboarded all winter, and everything was set up just beautifully. And I was so confused because I'd never felt so unsatisfied, so discontent. And I realized what my culture had said, this will give you success, did not equal success to me. The outside picture was only half of the thing, and without the sort of the inner connection, everything successful added up to nothing.
So, dude, what does being a monk mean, man? What's it all about? Because I know you, but I don't really understand. I don't really know. I'm not educated enough to know what a monk is, what a monk does, how they live. So, dude, educate us because I'd like to know more. And before you start, dude, check this out. Check out the technology here. So thank you. If you want to follow Arjuna on Insta, there you go. And I should give us some more. There you go.
Well, I was trying to share this on my page and I failed. So sorry, I gave up.
Oh no worries. Yeah, do tell us how does a monk live their life, and how is it different to average Joe?
I think Well, for me at least, for the Ashaya monks, is for me, it's holding myself to a higher standard, to not settling for less, to really living, well, a copy of my book, 200% of life, embracing not just the enjoyable, the good here in the physical world, but really having an inner sense of being that can't be shaken. I think that's why I became a monk, is just to gain that sense of independence and freedom from the ups and downs of the world. And so that's for me is the common denominator, is the wanting to hold myself to a higher standard, to enjoy the world but not be affected by it.
So what was your training like? So I've seen films, where people go to these camps and they go in and then 12 months later, they come out transformed and so on. So, tell us, how does somebody become a monk, and what kind of shit do you do, man?
Well, it was very simple. It was 6 months of meditation, really. Wow. Long hours of meditation, but also we had meetings and kind of really talked about, asked questions, got stuck into the whole sense of what the whole purpose of meditation was. What was the point? Why were we closing our eyes, and sort of really getting clear on what experience that we were looking to have.
Dude, let's talk about meditation, because one of my fears when I started working with you was, I said, Arjuna, I don't want to lose my edge, man. I've got all this energy, and I'm driven and I'm ambitious, and I said I don't want to lose that, and I didn't really understand what the purpose of meditation was. So, what are the main benefits? Why should people meditate more?
Yeah. Well, you most certainly don't lose your edge. You lose limitation. You lose fear. You lose doubt and worry. You lose all sense of, well, I should, because everybody else is doing it. I think you develop a authentic feel for what's right for you. You really develop that intuition and inner wisdom, but also kindness, compassion, perhaps, if you like. So your life becomes yours, free of fear and doubt, but also bigger than you. It's not a selfish grab because you need to get the stuff to make you feel a certain way or boost your reputation. It's you're doing it because you want to, and often it brings you joy. And in that, as a side product, it's an act of service. It sets other people free.
So when you say you live without fear and without worry now, so you don't experience these emotions?
I would say only 10% of what I used to.
Right. Okay.
And then I see it as a good thing, because I see it as I'm entering something where I'm uncertain and I don't know. And first of all, it's an invitation to be certain, and that the only place of certainty is within myself, within anyone. And from that level of presence and being, step forward to something that's going to make me grow. Fear is just an invitation to be bigger, really. Is that gulp before you jump off the edge and start flying.
What motivates you, dude? What drives you to do the work or to push yourself? What are your drivers now? What are your motivations?
That's a good question. Well, I want to be of service. I want to see the world be a happy place. I want to see people living their lives as opposed to living lives of drudgery and working jobs that they hate and in relationships they hate. I really want to see people step into their own truth, and I want to do that. I want to see how deep the rabbit hole goes. So I want to dissolve in that sense of being and help as many people who want the same thing do the same thing.
But wouldn't that mean that pain, was doing us a favor? So it kind of directs us towards where we might want to go, right? So I know, for example, whenever I've changed, it's been through the process of pain. Pain's kicked me up the arse and said, Alex, you can't stay here. It's too painful. So when you lose those things, and when you lose those emotions, like how are you guided by things like, you know, what determines where you go if you don't have that pain and doubt and that energy to drive?
Yeah. Well, like we started talking before we hit record about Paul Mort's podcast with Jeff Thompson, and Paul uses the analogy of the rumble strip. You know, when you hit pain, when you hit the rumble strip, it means you're going off the road. You got to wake up. You know, change where the wheel's pointing. Make a different choice. And so you're right. Pain can be and sometimes pain can stop you from living, you know, a pretty good average life where things are okay, but things aren't really exceptional. Once you get in a deep, dark hole, that can be the motivation, the springboard to take you to something far beyond an average life. And so you're right. But after that, I think it's really just joy, increasing expansion. You don't need to worry about the stick, but you're doing it because you love it. You know, love is its own motivation, its own energy, its own inspiration, I think.
So if we've got two forms of motivation, right, we've got pain and we've got pleasure. So are you saying now that you no longer need that pain, you purely focus on the pleasure?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Dude, you're so cool, man.
Because I think ultimately, I mean, you're so right. Suffering can give us a big kick up the bum and make sure we never go back there. But what you focus on grows in the end of the day. And if you're focusing on if you're constantly looking over your shoulder, it's a tough way to live. And at some point, you give up that concern with what's been, with the past, with the fact that you did it wrong, and go, okay, I'm moving forward. And everything becomes an invitation for you to grow then. It's not a punishment. It's not anything but, oh, cool, what can I do with this? It all becomes fuel for the fire.
One of the best things you said to me when we were, you know, because I would get frustrated with meditation, just like most people do, you know, when you think, oh, I can't switch off, I can't switch my brain off, I'm not doing it right, it's a waste of time. And one of the best things you said to me, Alex, there is no wrong way to meditate. And that really helped me. So in terms of, you've already mentioned pain, and I guess let's go into depression and anxiety and stuff. Where does the role of meditation play in you know, in healing people, or at least contributing some kind of help for those people that are struggling with things like depression and anxiety?
Yeah. Well, I think first of all, it gives you distance from the emotion, and it gives you distance from the fear and the story that has created the burst of emotion. You know, so and some of this is chemical, right? So medication, I'm not saying medication doesn't have its place, but I think a lot of it with us, panic, anxiety, depression, is really a habit, a way of looking at the world that we get stuck into and unconsciously fall into. And meditation really can separate you. So it frees you from being lost in the story, from repeating it, from making that story stronger. And in that, you can sit with it and let the emotion do what it needs to do, just to move. It'll bring you acceptance and awareness, so it can shift fast. What most people do is we're afraid of intensity, so we go like that to it and try and squash it, push it away, deny it, block it out.
Have you read that?
No, it's the Johan. Oh, I might have heard a TED talk.
Yeah, he's great. He says that, like, of course, you know, our brains have a role to play, but it's not always. It's not just that contributes towards the way we feel. So psychology and environment and circumstance and how we manage life plays a huge role in things like depression as well. So obviously you will have worked with a lot of people, right? You will have helped a lot of people that I guess were in pain. What would you say if there's any patterns that you notice, what would you say causes people the most pain and suffering?
I think underlying all of it is resistance, is a denial of reality, a sense of this should not be happening to me. And the fact is it is, but in our resistance to it, it just builds and builds in pressure, and it creates a blowout in terms of anxiety or trauma or all kinds of things like that. So, but really, anything, believing that it's my fault that I'm experiencing this. You know, and everything from child abuse to war to a car accident to seeing your kids injured. You know, it's my fault. I did wrong. I should have done something different. I'm an idiot. Do you know, all of that? And really that self-abuse, that self-violence creates that resistance and that, no, I shouldn't be seeing this. And, you know, our society piles on top and says any kind of intensity is wrong. We want to make you comfortable. Comfort is the way to be. But, you know, as we began this, we won't be comfortable. If we're growing, it involves moving into a place of the unknown and up against intensity. It doesn't have to be a problem, but we see it as a problem and we resist it and we say, again, I don't want this. So that's, I think, acceptance, awareness and acceptance of what is a beautiful way out of that.
Yeah. I'm going to throw that. I'm sorry. I'm not challenging. I feel like I'm challenging you, and I'm not.
No.
I'm just trying to dig so that I can get some of this clear in my head. So when we talk about acceptance, again, where's the fine line? Like, if somebody's struggling and somebody's not happy with their life, like for me, when you say acceptance, you're almost like saying this is how it is.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, not wanting to address the situation or not wanting to change it.
Yeah.
Like, what's the difference between getting to that level of acceptance that you're on about, but not having crushed hope for the sake of acceptance?
Yeah. No, you're spot on. And it's got to have two things. I think you do have to have hope or a goal or an aspiration, but then you have to break it down to what's happening right here today. And the pure acceptance of the facts allows you to see the facts clearly. You know, if you're just so focused on the goal, you can't see how to get there. Right? If you're so scared of what's happening to you right now, if you don't accept it, you can't see what to change. You know, you're sedating your head in the sand, you're ignoring it, it'll go away, and all of that. So acceptance seems like denial, but really it is opening your eyes as big as you can and really it gives you clarity. It allows you to see, lay it all out on the table and go, okay, what have I got here? And what can I do? What can I do with what I have?
Dude, you got an answer for everything.
But
I wore these glasses to try and at least bring my level of sophistication up. But you're just up there. But this is great because you really do understand it. And again, I don't want to sound like I'm always slagging off various coaches and stuff, but some people don't really understand what they teach. My experience from working with you is that you've practiced it so much that you really have a deep level understanding of what meditation is, what it does, and how it can help people. Yeah.
Well, I hope so, because, you know, otherwise I'm useless if I can't. Yeah. And I think it comes back to our own experience allows us to help others. You know, and perhaps that's the saving grace in all these experiences that are unwelcome and unexpected, is that you can live through them if you know that one day you will help somebody else. That, you know, there's no point reading off page 9 of this book. You know, it's, as you said, it's empty. But if you experience it, if you come to terms with it, then you can truly help millions of people.
Dude, this is how you sold meditation to me. You were like, Alex, if you're reading this book and you're trying to get better at something, you know, business, whatever it is, like if you are present and actually reading it and actually absorbing the information and being focused purely on what you're doing, then you can link that with drive and ambition. You can get better by being more present. As soon as you said that to me, as soon as you offered me a potential, I was like, right, I'm interested. Because I'm not really interested in just sitting there doing nothing. But if I consider it as training, or, you know, training my attention, but, you know, that turns me on way more than the idea or the concept of just sitting there trying to be chilled out.
Oh yeah, no. Meditation's wonderful for the inner game, coming to terms with the self-violence, the self-doubt, the lack of interest, the foggy mind, the drifting mind. But it's also wonderful for the outer world. It allows you such a foundation to enjoy, to be effective in everything that you do. It has to be both worlds. It has to unite the whole one thing. It can't be either or. We're not choosing to have a spiritual life or have an active, ambitious life. You can have both, and we've been sold short.
What is a spiritual life, dude? What, you know, when we say the word spiritual, what does it actually mean, or what does it mean to you?
I think I would break it down into the two worlds of doing. There's a world of doing out there where you achieve and get and take care of your responsibilities. A world of experience, a world of possessions, a world of things and stuff, people. And then there's the world of being, a world of presence, a world of depth. And perhaps that's a different word for spirituality. The more subtle, yet probably more constant, more real world than even the doing world, because if you look at it, the external world is constantly changing. It's constantly shifting. The only stability really is your being, is your presence. It's, you know, what that sense of looking through your eyes at the screen. If you rewind and take it back, who is it that is looking? Who is it that's listening? Who is it that's sitting in the chair, feeling the chair rise up against their body? That sense of you, that sense of your being hasn't changed your entire life. That's been the one constant. And yet we've been so far in the doing world, the getting world, that we've forgotten the constancy, the peace, the clarity of the internal being. So
do you think the only way to come back to your true self then is through meditation, or do you have other practices? So, you know, I'm very interested in this, you know, who are you question, you know, who's the real you? Because I believe over years, you know, we're conditioned, and we might be just slightly off path, but over 15, 20 years, we can end up over here. So like, how do you bring somebody back to center? Because there's got to be a more complicated answer than just to meditate, right? Don't tell me it's that easy. Otherwise, I've been fucking wasting my time for the last 15 years. I should have just meditated every day.
Well, it's got, you know, I said to you before, I'm a simple man, and I love simplicity, because when you look at a kid, when you look at their childlike innocence, you look at the fact nothing beats them. It doesn't matter how many times they fall over. It doesn't matter how many times they skin their knee. They get back up again. And we lose that. We lose that persistence. We lose that joy at just trying stuff. We lose play. We lose so many things that mean as kids we learnt an incredible amount in a short period of time. And so it has to be simple. It has to be simple. It is really something that we've been our entire life, but we ran off looking for something else and forgot who we truly were. And so, sure, books can remind you, listening to inspiring people can remind you of your own presence. But ultimately, you have to learn to cut the cord and be your own presence. Do you know, there's no information that can recreate that. There's nothing that can give you that beyond you just stopping and heading back inwards. So whether you call that meditation, how you do that, I mean, people, Tai Chi, martial arts, sitting with a cup of tea, arranging flowers, reading a book, you know, there's numerous different paths, but ultimately the goal is the same.
Yeah. No, totally. I hear what you're saying. You're saying. All that flies up in my head straight away is these obstacles, these things that get in the way, you know, life, pain, suffering, people passing away, you know, bad things happening. And I guess that's part of what you're talking about, right? Whilst all that's going on, you can never really truly be content and present. I think that's what we're saying, right? When we're able to, I see it like this a little bit, Arjuna, when you're able to handle because the truth, there's only so much truth an individual can handle, right? Whereas if you become more centered, like you've got less shit to worry about, haven't you? When you can block out a lot of the stuff that's going on and just focus on what's going on in you, surely everything quietens down, right?
Oh, absolutely. And you you narrow your horizons. You know, we're constantly being told to broaden them, and it's not. It's like, okay, so no, bring it down. What we worry about so much stuff that we have no control over, and it affects our cells and our bodies. You know, it gives us bad sleep and worry and all the rest of it. But really narrow it down to what you can control. What are you in charge of? What can you do? And it's so little, you know, and that makes what you actually carry, what you actually have to do, is so small in comparison to the way it used to be.
Yeah.
And so it's very freeing. And then all of a sudden your shoulders drop and your head lifts and you go, man, do you know what? Life comes alive simply because you weren't stuck in your head worrying and thinking and trying to get stuff.
Dude, I've got so many questions. I want to have a look at. I like this kind of question because I don't know why. It's just a really simple question. What kind of things can't you do as a monk? So, you know, if you were to ever get kicked out of the monastery for being a bad monk, like, what would get you expelled? What would get you booted out? What would make you an outcast?
I don't think. I think you would have to actively leave. I guess if you did something like consistently slept with your students or abused people or took advantage of them in some way, something like that. Yeah,
I thought it'd be stricter than that. I thought there'd be like a code, a conduct, you know, a code of conduct where you can't do this. So it's not like that. But are there specific practices that you have to do?
Well, it's strongly recommended that we close our eyes and do our practice of meditation for a certain number of hours a day.
Ben's asking, what makes you a bad monk? Yeah, that's what I'm getting at, Ben. What would make you the naughtiest monk on the planet?
Well, that's the reason I became Nishai, because it seemed like they were like, you know, sure, if you're still an alcoholic, maybe it's a good idea that you don't teach, that you don't actually guide people for a little while. Get yourself sorted out, and then we'll get you back in the teaching chair. Or, do you know, if you're having a problem, let's sort it out. But it's not a case of you're wrong, get out. But hey, you can do better than that. Do you want to have a chance at resetting and going again? Okay.
So was you becoming a monk, you sorting yourself out? Is that why you got into the game? I mean, surely there must have been some pain floating around for you to say, "Hey, I'm going to go and, you know, join a monastery, become a monk."
Oh, absolutely. It was that pain of absolute confusion of why doesn't all these beautiful things and these possessions and this cool job, why doesn't this not add up to satisfaction and contentment? That was ultimately it, the confusion of feeling lost, even though I had everything that should have been equaling success. How
do you become a monk from Mr. Ryan McGill? And do you have to pass them? Do you have to take an exam? Do you have a passing?
No, well, I mean, you meet the guy, my teacher. I met him, and just when I worked out who he was and what he stood for and how he could help me, I was like, could you be my guide, my teacher? He said, after a few questions, I can't remember what they were, but he said, sure. And then it was 3 days of silence and fasting, and then took some vows. And that was sort of my first level of vows, which lasted for a year.
So your life's it's not massively different. Yeah.
No.
Here's me. This is how uneducated I am. You hear somebody who's a shy monk, I think they walk around in the gown all day and, sit in the corner and don't speak to anybody, never drink, all that kind of stuff. But I guess it's not true and I'm wrong.
Not for the Ashayas, but for some monks, for some spiritual paths, there are, the vows of celibacy or poverty, where they give all their possessions. Or,
why would you, as a dude, right? Say you're in your mid-20s or 30s or 40s, 50s, whatever. Why would you decide to go down that route?
Well, I think
I'm not going to have sex ever again. Why? If you live once and you were on about it, why would you do that? What drives somebody to do that, dude?
Well, I think I could see why. It's either you're so addicted to sex, either you can't walk down the street without constantly having your attention shifting to women all the time, or men. Maybe you're addicted to pornography, and so your answer to that is not come to terms, not change your relationship to who you're attracted to, or not change your relationship to pornography, but cut it all out. There's a school of thought that's just nuts. Just cut it out.
Porn is a big problem for a lot of men.
Oh yeah. I was addicted to porn, but I realized it wasn't about porn, that it was about my relationship to it. I couldn't point the finger and say it's the computer. It was like, that this is something I can control. This is something I want to come to terms with. And so, yeah, that was my deal. That was wonderful, because it showed me so much about addiction as well.
Yes, well, that's what it is, right? There's a book, I think it's called Your Brain on Porn, I think it's called. And I think I'm taking this quote from there. I think they were trying to do studies on the brains of men who watched porn versus those who didn't. They couldn't do it because they couldn't find enough men that didn't watch porn. So they couldn't do the study. They were like, where are these guys that don't fucking wank off the porn? And they were going, well, we can't find any. So you'll have to volunteer. We've got Judy saying, my coach, Joe Gledhill, a fellow Unstoppable member, bought me your book, Loved Your 200%. Being present is life-changing.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Is your book 200% on audio?
It's not. It's one of these. I bought all these fancy mics, and lockdown happened, and I've been trying to work out how to use it myself. But
dude, this is where you need a compatibility coach like me. I would be all over you. This is where we're so different. I'd be calling you up every day if I was your coach. Arjuna, have you done that book yet? Have you done that book yet? And eventually you just do it just to shut me up.
Yeah. There you go.
You've obviously, this is your first book. You're writing one now. Tell everybody what that's about, because I'm pretty damn excited to see your new content.
Yeah, me too. It's a really short one. It's talking about the two worlds of being and doing, because so many, like we said, so many people believe that you have to choose. Are you going to choose ambition, or are you going to choose hiding away in a cave somewhere? Are you going to, like we were saying, cut out the world, or are you going to cut out your sense of spirit and being and presence? That we kind of get presented with this unconscious choice. What do you want? Pick one. And I'm saying, no, the world, we are human beings, first of all. Choose for human being, your beingness, your presence, and let that inform everything that you do, everything that you say. So it's really a manifesto of how we're living half a life, and the benefits of indulging in a spiritual life that can give you for your sense of achievement, for sense of ambition, for all of that.
Dude, I feel really guilty because you're talking about being present, and I'm just checking out the Facebook questions because I'm running it on two feeds. Only one feed comes into StreamYard. So Sean's asking, how often should you meditate to make a difference?
I saw a study that said, I think it was 9 minutes a day. 9 minutes a day is enough to make your physical cells in your brain more plastic, more flexible, so that you can let go of old negative habits and make new ones.
So this could be what, twice a day for 4.5 minutes, or does it have to be in one sitting?
I don't know. I imagine it was one sitting. I think there's sort of a bit of a momentum that builds. But there's so many nice little guided meditations that are 9-10 minutes that you just plug one of those in, and before you know it, you're done.
Yeah, I do like Calm and Headspace. I know we've spoke before about eventually, it would be good to get to the position where you don't have, because I don't like the technology when I'm meditating, so I'd rather keep that away, but I do need somebody constantly reminding me, breathe, focus on your breathing, because within seconds, I'm thinking about what I've got to do after, I'm thinking about what happened yesterday, thinking about what's for breakfast, all sorts of crazy shit. Comes into my mind, and not even when I'm awake, dude. When I'm sleeping, my brain, I'm constantly dreaming and having nightmares all night long. I don't know what it's about, but I'm hoping meditation will help settle that down as well.
I'm sure. Yeah. I think the reason you dream at night is to process stuff. It's a defrag, right? And sometimes some of our filing cabinets in terms of our bodies are just a total mess. So it's just a messy jumble of stuff. And so, yeah, meditation does a powerful job of defragging, of sorting, of changing all of that up. So.
I had my first, I think they call it lucid dreaming today. You know, when you know you're dreaming in a dream, like you're. I had my first one of those overnight. It's freaky, dude. So freaky. It's how I imagine taking LSD to be.
Huh.
Yeah. Like I've just ate some mushrooms or something, but it was pretty scary. Yeah. But Ben is saying, do you? Well, I think even I can answer this one, Ben. Do you think the more you meditate, the better you get? The more you practice, it becomes easier.
Yeah. And, you know, having good guidance helps too. Just knowing that when it's not about fighting your mind, it's not about destroying the ego. It really is about having a completely different relationship with it. It's about stepping back from the washing machine of life, so you're not tumbled around by it. You're watching it through the glass, and in that detachment, in that just awareness, it slows down. Not because you forced it to, but because you weren't interested in feeding it or stopping it or battling it.
Yeah, teachers are so important, aren't they? Teachers, like I wouldn't be even contemplating meditation if it wasn't for you. Even I could read a book and I could listen to a podcast, but I think to engage with somebody and ask questions and challenge somebody and then be okay with it, I think that's really, really important, because the way you explain it, it makes me want to do it versus feeling like I should do it. Yeah. Which is really good for us. So you're very, in fact, you're a genius salesman to get me to be able to do that. We just need to get you posting more on social media now to let people know who you are. It's one of the reasons I wanted you on here, because I really think when you've got somebody like you in the world, like people need to know who you are, because you really do help people.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Yeah, well, yeah, I'm getting there. I'm getting there slowly.
Dude, I need you to help me with something. Because as a coach, right, I'm a driven motherfucker. You know this. Like, I love pushing people. I love holding them accountable to a high level. I love getting the best out of people. However, sometimes I do feel guilty, or I question myself as a coach, because I'm thinking, you know, when we look at this meditation, it's all about, you know, being calm and present. You know, am I doing the right thing in pushing people, in getting the best out of them, in getting them to do more than what they would do on their own? Help me out.
It depends how invested you are in that as your identity. It depends how invested you are in them changing.
Yeah, dude, I genuinely 100% with so much passion and enthusiasm want to help people change.
Oh, yeah.
So I give them what they want. But you know what it's like. Sometimes you're like, you question whether you're doing the right thing. I think we all do, just as humans, don't we? Where we, like, you probably don't anymore, but you know what I'm saying? We get to, you know, am I doing the right thing? Am I coaching people in the right way? Do people need pushing? Do people need leaving alone? Like, do they need to figure it out for themselves, or do they need teachers? Do they need guides? And it's like, boom, goes off. So yeah, what do you think when you have somebody who's a bit resistant, and then you have somebody like me, a coach or a teacher, that's pushing them a little bit, or giving them a nudge, not dragging them, but just saying, look, here's the door, dude. Come on, let's go.
Yeah. I think that's wonderful. I think we wouldn't be who we are without other people around us. That, you know, that whole saying, be the stupidest person in the room. You know, and people won't stay in the room if they don't want to grow. Do you know? They won't stay in your presence if they don't want to be inspired and provoked a little bit. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the reason I say invested in it, because when I started teaching this, I was so invested in the students getting it. You know, it was really like I would almost, you know, energetically reach out and kind of go, come on, you gotta get this. And it just flattened me. I was exhausted. And as soon as I stopped trying, as soon as the lady, I think it was Julie, said it, when I stopped being attached to anyone getting it, you know, I'd fully bring my best. I'd really tune in and meet the need of the moment, meet the need of the person, and just really be honest and give them what I felt that they needed. Maybe that was a push, maybe that was some love, whatever it was. But it really was up to them, and being completely hands-off, wide open attachment. Hey, climb up here, come see for yourself type deal. was a lifesaver, because it was you know, it was, as you, I think the saying is, be a lighthouse, not a tugboat, right?
Yeah. I find it hard because I am invested in my clients' results, like, you know, and that's what they like about me as well. But like you say, sometimes, you know, you can carry their frustrations, you know, you want them to do so well, and you can see that they've got more in them and so on. Do you never get frustrated at your clients who don't meditate?
No, not anymore. No.
Well, not anymore. Right. Okay.
No. Yeah.
No. Even if you know that meditation could be the thing that fucking saves them, and that could take them up to the next level. There's this person in front of you, all this potential, and they're suffering, and you're like, if you just meditate for 9 minutes a day, your life will be better. You still don't get frustrated?
No.
Dude, you are next level, you know that. What are you making? Please tell me.
Well, I just realized you can't, you know, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, right? You can lay it all out for somebody, and yet they won't take up the offer. And there's no point in me being frustrated. I'd rather give my attention to the people who really are getting something and want something from me.
Yeah.
But yeah, losing my cool and getting all bitter and twisted because somebody else doesn't get it, that's doesn't help anybody, you know.
No,
it doesn't help them, because they just dig in deeper. They just go, well, you don't understand me, type deal.
So Arjuna, this is why I set my new business up on a monthly basis only. Like, I know some coaches were trying to get me to, it was recommended to me in business that I sign clients up for 12 months, and, you know, that's the contract and so on. And that's good, because, you know, they're in it then and they commit. But I thought, you know what, I'm going to set this business up a month-to-month thing where people are only in my coaching program who want to be in it. You know, they don't feel like they're stuck in it. They don't feel like they're forced to be in it. They want to be in it. And that just alone, that has made the group, like, everybody's there turning up and doing the work and supporting each other, and it works. We've got a question or a statement here from Paul Beckett. I don't know how to say that name. I'm sorry. Arjuna?
Arjun Brahm? Do you know of him?
I've been watching his videos, and it is possible to shut down the mind completely during meditation. Completed serenity. That's interesting. Cheers, Paul.
Yeah. Well, good. If that's your experience, Paul, then awesome. Yeah. I think what a lot of people have is they have they go to combat with their own mind, and that's not the way to serenity. And, you know, the mind just runs out of momentum, essentially. You can sit in a sense of presence that is so still and so silent that the mind could be yelling at you, but it might as well be over the other mountain range, you know. But you didn't shut the mind up. You detached from it to such a degree that you didn't notice it. You know?
And that is why you would meditate, right? To find that peace of mind. Yeah. How does that go through the day, dude? So when you're out of your 9 minutes of meditation, let's just say you've got kids and your hustle and bustle of life, you know, you've just gone from your calm of meditation, you go downstairs, the kids are fighting, your partner's screaming at you to do the washing up. Like, how do you keep that momentum of that peace that you've just installed? How do you keep that with you?
Yeah, well, it's practice, it's exposure. But it's just recognizing that if I don't like something, I have two choices. I can change it or I can accept it, right? The trouble comes when I leave presence. That's when I get irritated. And so irritation is like, reminder to head back in and go, okay, right, what are we going to do about this?
So let's give the guys some practical things they can do to become more present. So obviously we look at things like what's having your phone attached to your hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
What else have you noticed that, or what else would you recommend people can do to start practicing this on a more practical level?
I think it goes like first thing in the morning is really, we all write, perhaps maybe we should write a to-do list. But before you write that, I suggest writing a to-be list. And all is that is really laying the foundation of the day, is saying, you know what, no matter what happens today, how do I want to be? What do I want to prioritize? What do I want to remember most of all? And so when you do step into situations, you've already programmed and planned and prioritized the fact that I want to be present and alive. You know, it's not, you know, when challenges happen, it's not if they happen, but when they happen, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so getting off on the right foot is key. prioritizing your peace is key. And I think a lot of people don't do that. They would like to be more present, but it's kind of an afterthought, kind of an attachment on the side. But if you make it the center of your life, then it's easier to return to.
Dude, win the morning, win the day, we say in a lot of coaching programs. I love that. I've never heard of that. It's a B list. Obviously, you know, inside the DX, we set our priorities for the day. You know, what do we want to focus on today so that it's a good day for us and our families? But a B list, quite like that. So I guess this is like, who do I want to be today? Not what do I want to achieve? Not do I want to get done? Who do I want to be? I love that, because what I'm noticing about all this goal pursuit, what really makes you happy is who you become along the way. Like, you can handle not hitting your goals, you can, and when you achieve them, great. But it's who you become, isn't it? It's, you know, becoming a better man, becoming a kinder man, a more considerate man. Those are what you can tell. I'm getting older now, because like, these are the kind of things that are more enjoyable than, you know, hitting a financial target.
Oh yeah. If you think about what you want people to say about you at your funeral, when you're on the ground or you're in the coffin in front of everybody, what do you want them to say? And that's not the financial targets. It's not even the weight loss. It's not how many marathons you ran, but it's your dedication. It's your kindness. It's your presence. It's your, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Dude, Paul Moore had me writing, is it called a eulogy? Is it called a eulogy?
Eulogy, yeah.
Shit, man. The first time I met Paul Moore, he had me writing my own eulogy. Like, what do you want people to say at your funeral? I was like, fuck, this is heavy. But it was quite scary. But again, this is what I mean. This is the only thing I'd really challenge you on here. I think you can tap into that pain of, you know, when you die, you know, all the things that you didn't do, and, you know, the way you want to be remembered. That can be quite painful, looking at that. I think a lot of people avoid the truth because it is painful. You know, when you look at yourself honestly and openly as a man, that can be quite painful. But there's the driver, dude, to change. I don't see how pain is not a good thing, and you're gonna have to keep it harder, dude.
Well, I don't think I can, but yeah, it is. You're right. It is a powerful motivator. But in the end, you stop fearing, and you step into increasing expansion just because it calls you, just because it pulls you forth. You don't need a push. You don't need to run from it. It becomes self-evident because you love it, because you want to discover what's more about you, what's more about the earth.
Arjuna, I think some things can't be taught. You have to experience them.
Oh, everything.
Yeah. And I think this is one of those things. So where I find myself now, if you'd have tried to teach me these things about the materialistic things not being the things to go for, I would have said I understand it, but you have to experience it to really do that. My mum's on the call. Arjuna, you have a calming presence. That's because my mum's used to being around me all the time.
But that's the thing. Like you said, the achieving, the chasing of more is so valuable because it shows you so much about yourself. It shows you so much about your limiting beliefs, about your reactions, about how you get wrapped up in success or failure. It shows you so much. If you're willing, the whole finger, though, points back at yourself and how you can be more free. So a chase for more is a great thing, but it only becomes empty when you don't point the finger back at yourself and go, who am I? You know, it's
how do you learn? How do you learn without setbacks, without pain, without fucking up? How do you learn when you're so present and cool like you are? How do you take new lessons on board? When do you grow your resilience if you're not putting yourself through pain? I think this is the bit that I'm missing. Like, for me, that's where my best growth has come from. The worst times it's made me stronger. Like, do you think there's other ways of building that resilience, or do you think you only have to go through a certain amount to build resilience, or do you not think you need to visit that place at all?
I think your attitude to it changes. I think your attitude to mistakes and setbacks and mishits just fundamentally changes, because we make a mistake, we let ourselves down or the people around us, and we regret. You know, there's a degree of self-violence, and it lasts for a while, right? the self-talk and the recriminations, and I shouldn't have done that. What are you, an idiot? What were you thinking? And after a while, it changes to welcoming it. It's almost like, I see you. And now, because I see you, I can do something about you. You know, it becomes exciting almost. It becomes an invitation to more rather than, and you know that you've done wrong and you could have done better and da-da-da-da, but you go, cool, I'm going to do better next time. You know, when you hit the reset button and you go from presence again. So it's not like you don't learn. It's just that you don't punish yourself repeatedly for it.
Ben says, when you're uncomfortable, you make the most progress. Again, yeah, it's something else I've been challenged on by people when we're talking about being present. You know, when you're present, when things are painful, like, do you not intensify the pain? Like, can you not be fixated? Like, you know, when people talk about being in the now, and Eckhart Tolle, Power of Now, talks about this so well, but I can never really understand it. I say I do, but I don't think I do. Like, how can you be totally present when things are bad? You know, because we don't want to turn a blind eye to everything and say everything's fine. So what is that skill of being present when things are shit? And I mean really shit. You know, when you're at the bottom, let's say something terrible's happened, a tragedy, like, how do you then turn being present into a good thing?
Well, it's the only thing. It's your salvation. It's the oasis in a storm. It's the eye of the hurricane, being present. Because you have, in life, you have the facts. You have just the plain old facts of the situation. This is what's happening. That they don't hurt so much. What hurts is the stories on top. I shouldn't have done that. Why is this happening to me? It's my fault. It's her fault. It's his fault. God's fault. It's the mental cogitations. It's the going back into the past and comparing with the future that you wanted and your plans. And it's all of that creates suffering. The fact may be painful. It may be unexpected. But when you're present with it, it's like, it's just a fact. It's the story that kicks your butt. And the story is always past, future, head stuff. And so the present moment is liberation from suffering.
Oh, dude, I think we can all, probably everybody listening, has had something not so good happen in their life, but it's the replaying of it that hurts over and over again, and it intensifies, even as far as guilt. Like, everybody does things that they're not proud of, and sometimes, yes, it's not a good thing that you've done, but it's grown so much because you've put so much attention on it. So much of your thoughts go towards the things that haven't worked out, that you haven't done well, that they then become this massive fucking thing.
Yeah, it becomes a monster, you know.
Dude, I'll let you answer that one off.
How do you forgive? That's a beautiful question. And again, we have habits, like we've just been talking about. We have habits of not forgiving, of really wanting to carry the hurt and the blame and the confusion and the suffering. It is a habit of thinking our way through this. And we think that if we let that go, we don't care, that we're being a doormat or anything like that. But do you know that really, by being present and becoming more present and returning to presence, in that is the ability to forgive, you know. And perhaps the Buddhists have a practice of loving kindness, where you actually bring a person to mind and wish them, well, love and kindness. You wish them nothing but a good life. And that helps too, just to really stop you from carrying them, so you can put them down. You know, but hate and anger and all of that really are a poison that's meant for the other person, but it hurts you, right?
How true is that? You know, when somebody's hurt you and you spend so much of your time being angry at them, it kills you.
Yeah.
Somebody says something today to me that said depression is often anger turned inwards.
Oh,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Depression. When we say depression, it's like, well, that's just a word. Like what actually is it? You know, where is it stuck? Because, like you say, it has a physiological effect on us as well. Sometimes we feel things, don't we? You know, in your stomach, knots and pains, and like something's actually happening. There's something's trapped in there, right? And you can see over periods of years, if people don't deal with stuff, you can just see how it just gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and then it's harder to come out. And then when you do go through the transformation meditation and, you know, therapy, and you read the books and you understand it a bit and you open your eyes and you're aware, that's when you, in my experience anyway, that's when you feel the pain at its worst, you know, when you become aware of it. Does that make sense? You know, when you develop your skills and you become more awake, you see things for how they are. That's quite a scary place. In fact, Arjuna, I know somebody who coached this guy who was really struggling, and he became very aware of his situation and he couldn't handle it. Like, you know, he did something terrible to himself because he just couldn't handle opening himself up past all the conditioning that he'd set himself. You know, when he got to the real essence of what was going on, he just couldn't handle the truth, which I understand. I know that sounds really like crazy and over the top, but I can understand why people continue to live as they do, because it's easier than addressing what's really going on. Does that make sense, or have I just rabbited on for the last 5 minutes?
No, it makes sense. And I think that's why, you know, a practice of, like your mum was asking, a practice of forgiveness or a practice of love always has to begin with yourself. Is to forgive yourself, is love yourself, is understand that, you know what, you did your best with what you knew at the time, and regardless of your motivations, you know, you're so much more aware now, and so you've already grown. But let's hit the reset button. Let's go from now. Let's try again. You know, and
dude, we're gonna have to get you back on again because I've got a list of questions here. I haven't even looked at my notes.
Oh.
I haven't even looked at my notes, but I did want to do a little game with you, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Because we've been talking for nearly an hour.
Oh.
And I've talked to you for about 8, and I still haven't asked. There's so many questions I want to ask you. But look, I've got a few books lined up here because I love to ask people towards the end of our combo about, you know, what cool programs are you watching, what cool books have you read. So I thought I've got a few, and I wouldn't mind seeing if you've read them, or maybe you could offer some people some cool books to read or some cool things to watch.
Yeah.
So we don't have to go into detail on this. What about this? Carl Jung, Memories, Dreams, and Reflections.
I've never read it, but I've read his Wikipedia page.
He is legit. He's great. I mean, I think he's like from 1880s, and he was ahead of the game. Like, he'd be ahead of the game now. Like, what he was saying then is still mind blowing. And you know Jordan Peterson, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he refers. This is a great book. 12 Rules. Do you like this guy?
I do. I love. I've put him on my podcaster. Yeah.
You'll know this one, Daily Stoic.
Daily Stoic. Yeah, that's a lovely
book. So that's 366 meditations there. Thought you'd know that one.
Divine CEO.
Jeff Thompson, and I'm going to show off now. I've got signed copy there from.
Oh, very cool.
Which thing to this, dude? This is deep. We were speaking about this before.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I'm chipping away.
It fucks you up, man. It's like, what the fuck? You have to read every page about 8 times to start to understand what he's on about. I love it.
Yeah, he's so knowledgeable. He packs a lot of knowledge into that in a few pages. So yeah,
frightening. Yeah, if you were saying it was complicated, so if you find it complicated, then like, I don't know what I'm doing reading it. What about Mr. Freud?
Freud, I haven't read Mr. Freud at all.
Thick, mate. The War of Art.
Oh yeah,
great book, right? Last couple. Reasons to Stay Alive, Matt Haig.
Oh wow, yeah, never read it, but I've picked up some quotes from him and love it.
Yeah, he's on Twitter. He's on Instagram a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And then
yeah, again, just made a lot of sense from his TED talk.
What about this guy? Yeah, what about this guy?
Just rubbish.
What a legend, dude! What books should people read?
What should they read?
Yeah, if somebody wants to just maybe learn a little bit more about meditation or start to experience some of the things we've spoken about, where should they start? Maybe what should they pick up? Where should they head? What sources should they go to?
See, I think there's so many good apps that teach meditation. I think going to a book is probably, for my preference, it's better to hear it in my ears. You know, when I'm being taught, if it's not an actual person, then I like to be talked through it. So that's why I don't really know any books. There's a guy called Anthony DeMello, and he wrote a book. I picked up a long time ago called Awareness, and that is so powerful. I mean,
what's his name?
Anthony DeMello.
It's called
DEMELLO, and yeah, he doesn't pull any punches. He's just like
good, yeah, dude.
Straight up.
Need to stop buying books. I mean, behind me, I've got a shelf there. I put a shelf in my office. I've got a shelf in my bedroom now. I've got a big crate in the shed up there with books. It's like you just mentioned that book. I'll go and buy it now.
Yeah.
I mean, I will read it, but I'm just terrible. And if you were going to recommend anything, like you said, like an app, is there anything in particular that you have come across that you think is cool? I just did the free sessions on waking up with Sam Harris. Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, Ben's saying here he wants to listen to you on audio.
Cool. Well,
June 2020. Dude, and we all said in DX, didn't we, in Discipline X, like, without coming on too strong, your voice has such a soothing effect. We could all just sit there and listen to it all day long.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Oh, yeah, 2020. When in fact, Ben, let's hold him accountable now. Let's gang up on him.
Oof.
Whether he's a nice guy or not, let's get him. Let's pin him down and find out when he's going to have his audio book done.
All right. Well, I need some help because when I record my voice, all I hear is do you know all the lip sounds?
Dude, I haven't heard that once.
Well, it comes. Yeah. Anyway, I got to tweak it.
People are demanding it now. Steph's demanding it. You need to get your I'm reading the book now, but your meditation. Dude, you put a meditation into the audio book. The one that the one that you did for us, for the guys.
Yep.
Do that, dude. Dude, you could release some audio book guided meditations.
Yeah, I'll get on it. All right,
Mina wants it as well.
Cool.
Dude, you cannot ignore the masses.
All right.
When are you going to get it done by? By the way, dude, if you need help, guess what the fastest way to get help is?
Just ask.
Boom. Who's help, Arjuna?
I have a buddy who's a voice artist. He's an actor, so I can ask him.
Dude, are you sure you need this? You sure this is not just a bullshit story, that you could actually get it done and it's fine?
So, well, I don't know. I know that about myself. I'm a perfectionist, so maybe I could just do it.
I'm going to teach you something now. I'm going to teach you
all right.
That is a form of insecurity, my friend. It doesn't need to be perfect, dude. That thing that you're hearing, I bet nobody else would hear it.
Good point.
Thank
you. At the very least, I could send it to someone and they could go, "Do you hear that?" And they could go, "Rubbish."
Yeah. Dude, let's get it done. When are we? Oh, right, I'll speak to you after. I don't want to bully you too much. I'm horrible, mate. I'm relentless. If you were my client now, I'd be like, you're not getting off this call until we've set it down. That's what I'm like. Terrible. Ask Ben. All of Morty's Prime ladies are here. See, Morty's one of these guys who's got a following everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Steph's happy. Alex is going to coach. Ben is one of the hardest workers I've ever known, dude.
Oh, cool.
You've got such a calming voice. You can do it. Thank you. That's very kind of you. Anyway, dude, where were we? Yeah. So the app is called Waking.
Waking Up with Sam Harris.
Cool. And dude, do you watch Netflix?
Yep.
Prime and all that. What's good? What are you watching at the minute?
We've been watching Parasite, the Korean film.
Yeah, it's supposed to be great, right?
It's 2.5 hours long, so we're broken into 3 chunks.
I watched it with my dad, and my dad's not a big fan of the subtitles, so he's like he's giving me the eyes of saying I'm not sure, but it's supposed to be amazing. I'm going to watch that. Yeah,
really enjoyable so far.
Yeah, cool. Anything else, dude, that people need to watch?
Oh. I'm kind of in bed by 8:30 because my kids have been waking me up at 4:30. So I'm like,
dude, I go to bed at about 9 o'clock now. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm sure there's something, but
yeah.
There's so much good. There's so many talented people out there writing books and creating apps, and it's an amazing time to be alive. Huh?
Yeah, dude. Well, listen, there's a demand for what you do, so get that audio book done, dude. And we can't wait for this second book, whenever that's going to happen sometime this year, right?
Yeah. I'll hope, definitely. I mean, that for sure. I'm working full steam, and I'll send it off to my editor tomorrow probably. So yeah.
Dude, we'll call it a wrap now, but we need to get you back on because, like I say, more people need to know who you are. More people need to know how they can work with you. In fact, they can visit you here on Instagram.
That's fine.
If somebody wants to work with you or know a little bit more, is there anywhere else that they should go, dude?
Probably my website. Can I chat on this? Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure, but if you tell me, I might be able to pump it in the. Yeah, I can post a comment.
Well, it's Arjuna Ashaya.
Dude, you're gonna have to tell me. Is it a? Well, that's about Arjuna. It's the Ashaya bit.
That's it. So Arjuna, ISH.
Yeah.
AYA.
Yeah.
.com.
Yeah.
/.
Yeah.
Mentoring.
Very nice.
Or if you just want to get on my email list and /free.
Oh, I think. Oh, there you go. It's gone there. It's cool.
That's it.
Yeah, dude. I spout Ashaya beginning with an A, so I was miles off when I've made my notes here.
Oh, I know.
Dude, can we get you back on because that was amazing. And as always, dude, I'm so grateful of your time. You're always so kind to me with your time, and you always help the guys inside DX. They all love you. We all love you. So yeah, thanks so much, dude. I don't know if you've got anything that you want to say before we wrap up. Maybe give people what is the main reason, dude? What is the one biggest reason people should at least have a go at starting the process of meditation?
So they can experience what it's like to truly be alive.
Mate, that's not the first time. Mate, thank you so much. I'm going to end the podcast. Dude, if you hang around for a minute, we'll just have a chat about how that. Ben saying thank you both. Extremely inspiring. And yeah, I guess, Arjuna, we should thank everybody for tuning in and for their questions and their comments. It's always better, guys, when you throw out questions out there because it can direct where the conversation goes. Otherwise, it's just me and Arjuna in my living room having a cup of tea. Nonsense.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you, everyone. It's cool. Awesome that you gave up your evenings to listen to us prattle on.
You're a legend, and I'm going to say it again. I'm going to end it on this. I always say this. You are the coolest motherfucker I know.
Well, thank you. You too.
That is.